2, 1, go.
G'day guys, welcome to another edition of 3SSR Footy Hit. I'm John Nonaher here again, as always, with Peter Seros. Pete, another good round of footy in round 12, and it all kicked off on Friday night. This was an absolute belter. Carlton jumped out of the blocks nice and early, and they're playing some alright footy, but couldn't get the job done.
They are playing some alright footy. They always play pretty well against Geelong, though, so they've got a good record against the Cats, and they showed it again, but did go down by 5 points.
And the Cats just motoring along very nicely, and Joel Selwood, when a captain needed to stand up at the end, you know, all square, Joel Selwood delivered from 50 on probably the tightest angle you could get, and you could see the exhilaration in his face. Yeah,
that's right. Really great captain. I wish I had him at Richmond, to be honest. But yeah, no, really great player, and he stepped up when the team needed him.
Yeah, really good game. And look, Carlton, they found a bit of form mid-year, but look, they're faltering a little bit at the moment, but getting back to some of their best footy at the moment. And Geelong, well, they've got St Kilda next week, so that'll be another win in their column. Hawthorn travelled down to Tassie to take on the West Coast Eagles. And look, West Coast got off to a good start as well. They were leading at quarter time by goal, and but Jared Ruffhead was too hard to stop for the Eagles.
That's right. The Eagles, they started off really well during the season. They've sort of dropped, or they've really dropped off later on in the year. They could possibly be missing finals just because of the form slump. I hope not, because I think they're a genuine chance.
Now, is Ruffhead going to win the Coleman after his 8-goal haul?
No, he'll be Jack Reewald.
Oh, Jack. How's the bias on him?
No. I think it'd be between. I think Schultz is still in good form. But I don't think he'll win it. Ruffhead, yeah, potentially could win it again. That's my genuine opinion.
I think Ruffy's a shoo-in, to be honest. He kicks multiple goals every week.
But I wouldn't knock out Tom Hawkins and Jack Reewald just yet.
It's true. Tom Hawkins probably the best big man in the game at the moment. Now, St Kilda took on the Port Adelaide Footy Club at the Portress. And look, St Kilda were competitive, as always, for 2 quarters. They keep getting competitive for 2 quarters. And then in the third, Port Adelaide just went whack, kicked 6 goals. And from there, they were never headed, kicked another 6 in the fourth. And Chad Wingard has earned himself a car in the process, you would have thought.
Yeah, it's only been a 17-point loss for St Kilda. I feel sorry for them.
Yeah.
But they're an up-and-coming side. Port Adelaide are, at the moment, the best side in the comp. They're the team to beat. I still think Hawthorn are a better team. Though, you know, Port Adelaide are first. But I think Hawthorn are a better team. I think those two could potentially be squaring off in the grand final. Though Sydney are up there as well.
And Port take on Sydney this week, so that'll be a big test of where they're at. Well, yeah, that's the thing. We'll get back to that when we review the game, but Tippett could be out. Look, some good signs for St Kilda. They hit the front there early in the second quarter, but couldn't go on with it. There's a lot of work to do. Obviously, they're down on players and stuff as well. So David Armitage will probably come back in this week after a dominant display in the VFL. But yeah, probably times for St Kilda.
This game, I've been waiting since Saturday night. I have been waiting since Saturday night for this moment.
Let me tell the viewers what the situation is. Now, the last 2 weeks, obviously, we haven't posted a video, so you haven't been able to see, but the last 2 weeks, Pete has been tipping the Brisbane Lions, saying that, you know, they're a better side than we all expect. And it's fair to say
He's given me a lot of rubbish for it. He's given me a lot of junk for it.
I think I called him a moron at one stage.
Like, it was more than one stage.
He's got no idea about footy, but...
And they've come out on top.
I look like an idiot now because...
Twice in a row. 2 weeks in a row. And he's called me a moron 2 weeks in a row.
But they almost let this one slip.
They almost did. They had a very good lead at half-time. I thought they've won it. They've gotten the bag. But at the same time, they're not the best side in the comp. And, you know... Footscray, not Footscray, the Bulldogs are probably a bit better than them, in all honesty. Brisbane were better on the day.
They were 4 goals up at half-time and 3 up at three-quarter time. And the Doggies fought pretty well. Look, the Doggies are another team, a bit like St Kilda, who are struggling at the moment. Things are only, you know, things are going to get worse before they get better, as the coaches say. But they piled on 4 goals in the last as well to Brisbane's 1. So... Look, the Doggies, they did well to get back, but Brisbane are going to have to work on those fade-outs because it happened against Carlton the week before as well. So,
that's right.
Now, the big news out of this game is Jobe Watson. I don't know what he's done, but he's done something in his hip. I don't know the technical term for it, but he's going to be out for 8 to 10 weeks.
I thought the bigger news was Essendon kicked over 65 points. That was the bigger news.
For the first time in a while.
First time in over a month and a half.
15-point win to the Bombers. But the Giants, as they did against Hawthorn the week before, they showed a bit. And look, they're obviously...
They're not the easy beats anymore.
They've obviously gotten a rocket from Leon Cameron. They had 200-point plus demolitions where they gave away 11 goals to one forward in 2 weeks. So, look, after that, they've obviously gotten a rocket, and they've come out and done really well.
Yes, they're not the easy... As I said, they're not the easy beats anymore. They have had some blowout games, but you expect that from a young side. But they're not the easy beats. Most of their games, they've been right in there in the contest, so they're a good team at the moment.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Now, the best side in the comp, as far as I'm concerned, is the Sydney Swans. And, look, Gold Coast put it up to them at the at Metricon Stadium, but it was a 7-goal win to the Swans. Pretty clinical, to be honest. And look, as you said before, Tippett hurt his knee, and may not play this weekend. I was very impressed with Harry Cunningham. Hasn't had the greatest month of footy, but he came out 4 goals, 11 disposals. Lance Franklin managed 3 as well, so he's motoring along quite nicely at the moment. And look, the Swans, I don't think they can be beaten at the moment. This will be the big test this week against Port at, I think it's the SCG.
It will be a good test. Team that's at the top of the ladder. Sydney are clearly a top 4 side. You know, you got Hawthorn who is still up there. But I think. I'm going to tell you who I tip later. But you know, Sydney are going to be a very, very good team.
They may have cost themselves, you know, the top spot on the ladder with their slow start to the year. Obviously losing to GWS and a couple others, and North Melbourne and stuff as well. So they could well be on top of the ladder at the moment. But early season form has cost them that.
If you remember a few years back, Collingwood actually didn't have that great of a start. In 2010, they actually just came home really hard.
Which is what Sydney are doing now.
Exactly. So, he could be seeing the same sort of thing as Collingwood did in 2010.
Dan Hanbury looms as a Brownlow smoky. He's averaged 30 disposals the last 6 games. Got 30 again this week. So
the question is, do the umpires notice him?
I think they do. But then again, Josh Kennedy and Kieran Jack would probably be taking votes off him. I still see Gary Ablett as winning the Brownlow.
I can see him.
I think Hanbury's going to finish in the top 5, to be honest. Well and truly. And another man, excuse me, who could finish in the top 5 is Nat Fyfe, and he was electric in this game.
He was very good in that game.
He was very good. The Dockers won by 40. They're finding their mojo a bit more, and their pressure was back.
They probably had the worst start to the year for a team that should have been well in place in the top 4.
And you tipped them to win the grand final.
I tipped them to win the grand final. But I don't think they can win it anymore. But I still think they're a genuine top 4 contender. But I think they're behind Sydney, Port Adelaide, and
I agree that they can't win the grand final. I think teams have worked them out a little bit. The Ross Lyon style obviously is different, but I think teams have worked it out, and they're a little bit easier to score on. Obviously, Adelaide only scored the 50 points, but.
But Adelaide aren't one of the best teams in the comp.
Adelaide beat Freo by... Adelaide lost to Freo by 40 points. And, look, Adelaide, they're clinging on to a position just outside the 8. Can they get there? That's a different story.
That's the thing. It's matches like this which show that they needed
to win this if they were...
They really needed to win this, but at the same time, they're better than most of the bottom teams. They've been a team that have been in and out this year. One week they beat someone...
Well, they beat Collingwood a few weeks ago,
exactly.
And then came out and lost to Carlton, yeah.
So, you really don't know where they're at the moment. They're up and down, but very improved since last year. Last year they were pretty bad.
Do you want to talk about this game?
Not really.
35 points up.
Don't really want to talk about it.
4 goals, 7 to 10-6 at half-time.
Don't even want to hear it.
Dustin Martin's got 4 goals, and the wheels fall off. They've kicked 9 goals in this third quarter to 1.
Yeah.
What happened? Why?
I'll tell you what happened.
How are Richmond? How does this happen?
They're pretty
Richmond.
They're pretty crap. That's
what's
I don't know.
Going on?
They didn't know what last.
If you look at this little worm here,
I'm looking at the worm.
It goes down and then straight back up.
I'm looking at the worm. They did it last year. They lost the final series because of it. I
want to show our viewers at home this little worm. Look at this little worm right there. Down and back up. That's how bad Richmond are at football. You blokes, for a team that made finals last year and had all the had everyone in the footballing world saying, "Oh, Richmond's back, Richmond's back."
Let's be honest.
You blokes,
let's be honest. We
are
have
the biggest chokers I have ever seen in football.
I agree.
And your coach is no good. Your players are overconfident.
That's what I think.
And look, Lids and Cochin have. I haven't heard news about them in the last 2 weeks. They cannot get their hands on the ball.
Delidio
you blokes,
Delidio and Cochin have been pretty good. Cochin's been injured. He's been injured.
You blokes.
Delidio he's had a good year.
You
Not a brilliant year, but a good year.
You blokes make St Kilda look good, and we're playing you in 3 weeks, and I'm pretty confident we'll beat you.
It's gonna be the one game.
I'm pretty confident we'll beat you because you are that bad at the moment that we can beat you, and we're the best turnover side in the comp.
We're playing pretty poor, and it's it is incredibly disappointing. Let's be honest, it's incredibly disappointing. I'm sure it's disappointing for them as well. But I reckon they were incredibly overconfident, coming into the season, and that's why they've done this.
Yeah, well,
I don't think they've gone in as hard as what they could have. They definitely, they've definitely not gone in as hard as what they could have. Though they still haven't, like the players individually, a lot of those players can make the best 22 at any club in the AFL, but for some reason they're not stringing it together and they can't win games. Sort of like Adelaide of the early 90s. They had. I remember their. I don't remember it, but I've seen statistics of it because I was a baby. But they made the state team. Most of their players were New South Wales state team, not New South Wales. Adelaide.
But look, full credit to North Melbourne. They've done this 3 times this year and come back from big margins. I think it was a 30-point margin they came back against Freo or something, and then again against Richmond.
That's right.
It's a 30-point turnaround.
Yeah,
you were 35 points up, and they won by 28.
Yeah,
disgusting.
It's pretty bad.
We'll move on because I'm sick of talking about a putrid side. And
63
points. Let's go. Full credit to North Melbourne and they're the team I've tipped to finish in the top 4, and they're moving along quite nicely. Yesterday's game, the Queen's birthday clash. It wasn't actually the Queen's birthday. Her birthday falls in April, so she's just trying to get an extra day out of it.
It really makes no sense at all.
Yeah, I know. Melbourne only scored 3 goals, but look, I think Melbourne were hard at it, and they were all right yesterday. They weren't as bad as everyone thinks. 33-point win to Collingwood. Scrappy game though. 3 goals, 10 to 8-13.
I watched the game. I was at the game, and I actually thought up till half-time Melbourne could win. Even at 3/4 time, Melbourne was still in the hunt. But, Collingwood sort of ran over them in the end.
Yeah, look,
it was a really good game, though.
It was an alright game, and look, Melbourne jumped out of the box early. They kicked the first goal, and look, they were a point up at quarter time. Granted, it was 1 goal apiece, but, they were a point up, and they were still there in it at half-time.
And they were still there at
3/4 time. They were only 2 goals down, and then Collingwood obviously kicked 3 goals to none in the 4th. And, look, Melbourne are getting better. You can see the Paul Roos factor coming into play, but
they're playing a lot better than what they were last year anyway.
They're going to be harder to beat now in the back end of the year, and I'm just glad that St Kilda played them early when they weren't in as good a form because we'd be on the bottom of the ladder if that was the case. They would have beaten us. Look, we'll move on to round 13. Friday night, Carlton get another Friday night game against the Hawks. Hawks undermanned, yes. But I just think they're going to be too good. They showed that they can still kick goals against West Coast, so I think they'll get the job done comfortably.
Yeah, I can see that. The Hawks will win. I can't see I can't see Carlton actually pulling it off.
But then again, we've said that the last few weeks, and
but they haven't pulled it off.
No. But they've been more competitive.
They've been more competitive, but they haven't won. There's a difference.
Now I'm excited to see how much Richmond are going to lose this one by, or how much they're going to be up by, and then let Freo back in.
I reckon everyone will tip against us, and then we'll end up winning somehow.
Well, I'm definitely tipping against you, and I hope you don't end up winning. Because
I think
Freo are finding a bit of form, and I think they're going to win this, even though it's at the MCG. The travel doesn't matter.
We play St Kilda and GWS. I reckon they're the only teams we can beat for the rest of the year. So,
well, good luck with that. Who are you tipping?
Well, Freo, obviously. I just said that. I think
but I thought you might tip. I thought you might have.
I just said that the only other teams we can beat.
All right. Sydney are playing Port at the SCG 210 game of the round. I like the Swans, even though Port. I think this is going to be a seriously close game. This could be under a goal.
I think Port will win.
You think Port will win?
If they come out like they did against Geelong a few weeks ago, Port should win.
If they win this, they'll finish on top of the ladder and they'll go well into September. This mob can get to a grand final.
That's right, and they've rebuilt that side a lot better than what Richmond had.
They just, the one thing...
faster, and they were a lot lower. The year that they did it, they lost their CEO, walked out on them. And
David Koch came in and rebuilt it basically from the ground up.
The coach left Primus left halfway through a game and didn't come back.
Yeah.
You know?
They
were really bad.
I remember thinking the other day, they were unwatchable 3 years ago.
Yeah.
I remember sitting on the couch watching them and going, this is a disgusting game of football. And watching them on Saturday, they just run and run and run and run and keep going. And it's good to see a team just lift that extra level. So, look, Port have done really well, and good luck to them on the weekend. West Coast are taking on Gold Coast. Two teams in need of a win. Patterson Stadium, I think, just plays into West Coast's hands, which will be unfortunate for the Suns because they're sitting 8th and they've lost 3 in a row.
I think Gold Coast will win.
You think Gold Coast will win?
I think Gold Coast will win.
It'll be good for the competition if they win.
They're a good team. I actually think they'll make finals.
Yeah, I do as well.
I think they'll make finals. I think they deserve finals after this year.
Now, I'm jumping on your bandwagon and I'm tipping Brisbane against GWS.
To go 3. Well.
They could go 3 in a row here, and they're already up above St Kilda. Yeah, at the Gabba, I think, look, the Giants will be competitive as always, but I think Brisbane, they're finding a bit of run. And Louis Taylor and Dane Zorko and Josh Green, they're speedy units. And I think that could play a part. And Jonathan Brown's actually found a little bit of form as well.
You can't rub him out. I mean, he's a star. He's been around since 2000, so that's 15 years now. Great player. We know he's a former Coleman medalist. You can't keep those sort of players down for very long.
No, you can't. North Melbourne are going to do a number on Adelaide, I'm sure of it. Even though it's at the Adelaide Oval, although this is probably the week that Adelaide come out and
play
win.
well. Yeah.
Yes, because after a loss on the weekend. But as we said, you know, they're seriously inconsistent. But North are inconsistent, but they're finding a little bit of more form, and if they can win this will get them well and truly into a finals position, I would have thought.
Hopefully they don't get 35 points behind.
Who do you think?
Half-time, though. I think North will win.
You think North will win? I think they're gelling pretty well at the moment, and they showed that they can come back from anywhere, obviously, on the weekend. Geelong, easy win against St Kilda at Simmons. We went down there last year and lost by 110 points, so this could be very, very similar, although Geelong aren't in the same form as last year. I think they're going to flog us.
No, but they are still in top 5.
They're going to flog us.
Yeah, they should easily win.
We should get Armitage back and a couple others, which will bolster 10 points. Which will bolster the midfield
and help you by about 10 points.
I was happy to see Tommy Lee get another opportunity. Probably needs to do a bit more in front of goal. It was still Rewalt that they were kicking to, and I just think that the Saints need to make Rewalt the decoy lead, kick it to him every now and then, but go to Tom Lee, who's the future of this footy club. No one's going to put 2 blokes on Tom Lee. They're all going to go to Rewalt. So the smart thing is push Rewalt up the ground, kick it deep to Tom Lee and let him take marks. He's got very good hands. But I don't see us winning this. I just want a bit of effort though. But let's hope so. Collingwood against the Western Bulldogs. Pretty easy for Collingwood, I'd say. And look, Dane Beam's in some pretty good form as well.
You'd think so, but at the same time, they didn't show enough against Melbourne for me to.
They were very scrappy
as a clear winner. I think the Bulldogs have more of a chance than what people would think they do.
Okay.
I think Collingwood would still win.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be a closer match than what people think.
Now, Essendon Melbourne. This could be a good game. Actually, I'm tipping Melbourne. I'm tipping Melbourne in this. I just think with Watson out, they lose a bit of grunt in the midfield, and I think Melbourne have got a point to prove. And look, you saw a few years ago that Melbourne's first win came against Essendon. They obviously don't match up well against them. The D's are full of pride at the moment. They're up and about, and they really want to win. And look, I think they'll win this one.
I think it'll be a close match. If Essendon can get over 65 points, I think they'll win. I think Essendon will win still.
Okay. Well, look, that's all we got time for. That's round 12 and 13 for you. Keep liking the Facebook page and 3SSR Footy Hit. I'm John Donohoe. He's Peter Saros. Until next week. See you later.